What is good, everybody? It is Spill here, and welcome back to the NBA 2K Lab channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at my 6'7 small forward hybrid defender build in NBA 2K24. But this video is less about my build and more so a guide for 6'7 locks. First off, just keep in mind that some badge thresholds and certain things may have changed since I played the game at Community Day. So I don't advise you to copy this build, and even I already have some things that I would change on this build, which we're going to go through in a little bit. So basically, I made all the mistakes so you guys don't have to. And this video is about giving you guys the best advice I wish I had before making my first lock build. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and if this video gets 3,000 likes, we'll go ahead and drop the 6'8 well-rounded point guard build. Now without further ado, let's get right into that video. Now for starters, I had maxed the weight on my build for absolutely no reason at all, so disregard that, but I was really just trying to look at the caps, and I think I forgot to change it back, but that's okay because I didn't want you guys to copy this build in the first place. But looking at the custom template, we have a 6'7 small forward with a max wingspan of 7'4", and when it comes to weight, in the past, most players will typically go with the minimum weight for the extra speed and acceleration, which is never a bad idea, but this year you have to decide if you want strength for certain badges, like for example, Immovable Enforcer, which can be a good badge to have when defending bigger builds, especially slashing wings with Bulldozer. Now Wolf, who's a gameplay dev at 2K, said that Immovable Enforcer is the direct counter to Bulldozer and also allows the defender to win physical body ups on the perimeter and in the paint. But getting this badge definitely comes at a cost, because if you want Immovable Enforcer on even just the silver level, you'll need to be at least 214 pounds at 6'7 for an 82 strength, which would no longer give you access to Hall of Fame fast feet because you're now taking that hit on your acceleration. Now on the flip side, if you do want Hall of Fame fast feet on your lockdown build, you're going to need at least an 82 acceleration, which makes 198 pounds a great weight for 6'7 lockdowns who want the maximum weight while still having access to what looks like one of the best defensive badges in the game. Here's a little cheat sheet I made for different weights that you can select depending on which badge levels you're looking to target, and I think the popular weight will probably be 198 pounds for that Hall of Fame fast feet badge, which only gives bronze Immovable Enforcer. But for those who are looking for a good middle ground, I suggest looking at 233 pounds, where this weight bridges a nice gap, allowing your build to access gold fast feet as well as gold Immovable Enforcer. So that's just something to keep in mind. I personally would go for Hall of Fame fast speed until we know how good these other new badges are and how much they're needed. Now moving on to the actual build, and we're going to start with perimeter defense. I'm starting off with gold clamps at a 93 perimeter defense, but I should have made this a 94 for Hall of Fame challenger. I believe Hall of Fame challenger last year was 97, so I didn't even probably think about that when I was making my build. But 94 perimeter right now looks like a good threshold, but if you want Hall of Fame fast speed, you'll need at least a 97 perimeter defense this year, which is going to cost a good amount of attributes. So for the best value, it's looking like you'll want either a 94 or a 97 perimeter defense. True lockdowns will look to get 99 perimeter for Hall of Fame clamps, but you'll have to be willing to sacrifice a good portion of the rest of your build. Then we have our steal rating, and of course as a lockdown, we want this as high as we can typically get it, but this year in 2K24 they introduced the right stick ripper badge, which requires a 96 steal rating for the Hall of Fame level. The glove badge, for reference, still takes a 99 steal rating for Hall of Fame, but if you're skilled with the right stick steals, you can maybe skip on Hall of Fame glove if you're looking to spend those attributes elsewhere. The threshold for gold glove actually went down and now only requires a 91 steal rating, which also may offer good value, so that's another thing to think about. It really depends on how much you prioritize your steal rating and I guess what type of competition you're playing against. For block rating at 6'7, it maxes at an 87, which is still the threshold for silver anchor, which is most likely another good badge to target. But in my final build, you'll see I went with a slightly lower rating, but for true lockdowns, I still would recommend going for at least that 87 if you can afford it. And don't forget, you'll also need that 72 interior defense as a secondary requirement for silver anchor. Now for rebounding, I went with a 77 defensive rebound for silver box out beast, and it actually felt pretty good in the rec when I was playing, but this is also an area I would have no issue lowering if I needed some extra attributes somewhere else. At the very least, you could probably drop it to a 60 defensive rebound to get bronze rebound chaser, which should be fine as it's not my primary job to be cleaning the glass anyway. Now moving on to the finishing for my lockdown, I gave this build more driving dunk than is probably necessary, but I was really testing out some new thresholds that may or may not be in the game in the final release. So I honestly wouldn't look at my finishing too much. That's definitely going to be something we need to look at more when the game drops. I didn't focus on the other finishing attributes as much, but if I were to increase something else here, it definitely would have been the standing dunk. But again, we have to wait until the final list of animation requirements to come out before we can settle on a decent attribute threshold. But when it comes to driving dunk, for me personally, I wouldn't go much lower than 85 on a build like this, but I can also see 80 being a decent threshold maybe if you're looking to save some attribute points. But for me, I at least want some contact dunks. For shooting, we're a bit limited here, but we're going to max out our three-pointer to a 79, which gives us some decent badges like silver blinders, silver catch and shoot, silver claymore, silver green machine, and some other good ones if that's in your bag. But I can see a 79 3-point rating being more than serviceable, especially for a lockdown build out of the corner. Now when we get to playmaking, we're keeping it very simple here as we go with a 75 pass accuracy, which is enough for silver break starter. But at a 74 rating, you also get bronze touch passer, which is going to be a nice badge to have for any build. If you wanted to go for silver, you need at least an 82 pass accuracy. Gold touch passer is going to be 90, and then Hall of Fame is 95. And we honestly won't know which level is the most valuable until we test them, of course. But I will say I was in the rec throwing full court outlet passes with this build at a 75, and they were feeling pretty good. Now by no means am I saying don't go higher than 75, because I'll be targeting at least an 87 on a lot of my builds for that bronze bailout. But what I am saying is that a 75 rating should at least be pretty solid. As we get to the physicals, I always like to max my speed, especially on lockdown builds. And if I was going for that Hall of Fame fast feet badge like I mentioned earlier in the video, I'd have a little more speed as my weight would be 198 pounds instead of 250. Not only that, but I would also have my acceleration at an 82 to meet those Hall of Fame fast feet requirements. For strength, you should aim for a minimum of at least 71 for bronze immovable enforcer. And now that clamps require strength anyway, it's really not going to be that much more of an investment. If you're looking to target higher levels of that immovable enforcer badge at 6'7", don't forget that 233 pound threshold I mentioned earlier, which can give you access to gold fast feet and gold immovable enforcer, which seems like a really good balance. I'm not going to touch my vertical as much as I plan on keeping it at whatever threshold I need for the contact dunks I'm going with. And another thing I probably would have changed on this build was aiming for a 99 stamina to unlock the 94 feet badge on Hall of Fame along with Hall of Fame workhorse. Now if you're not trying to get these two badges at Hall of Fame levels, I would at least go for a 95 stamina for those gold levels. Now to end this video, I'm just going to go over my final build and then talk about the improvements I'd make on this day one lock build. Now first of all, I'm remaking the template as a 6'7". The weight is 198 pounds with a max wingspan of 7'4". For finishing, I'm probably going to slightly lower this dunk to at least an 85 to an 87, and then if I can, I'm aiming for at least a 70 dunk, but that's a low priority for now. I'm seeing if I can get my better stuff first. Now I wouldn't touch shooting or playmaking, but I would look to increase my perimeter to at least a 94 for Hall of Fame challenger. And don't forget, if I want fast feet on Hall of Fame, which is why I made my build at 198 pounds, I need that perimeter defense to at least a 97. And if I'm not getting fast feet on Hop, I'm most likely going the 233 pound route I spoke about earlier for that gold immovable enforcer. Now I like the idea of the 96 steal rating for the new Hall of Fame Ripper badge, so I'm keeping that as is, but I was also toying with the idea of a 91 steal for gold glove, which could also save some valuable attribute points if everything's not going to fit here. And again, this all really depends on how you want to make your build. And then you see I have the 82 block rating, which at the time was the threshold for bronze anchor, and that has since changed where you now only need 77 block and 61 interior for bronze anchor. As I mentioned before, I would still aim for that 87 block if I can afford it, because being 6'7", it's the shortest height that can get silver anchor, which looks to be a really good value. Now in order to get all these things that I wanted to change, I'd have to at least lower my rebound, so I'm going to go from a 77 to at least a 60 for that bronze rebound chaser. And then since I lowered my rebound, I can also lower my strength 1 attribute, which isn't that much, but at least it's something. But you can see how I'm attacking this build and making my choices for the things that I want and the things that I'm willing to give up. Now my last change, and this is an obvious one, like I said, since we changed the weight, I'm maxing my speed to an 86 if I can, and then acceleration to at least an 82. And then I'm also looking to increase my stamina to a 95 or 99 depending on if I want that 94 feet badge on gold or Hall of Fame. Now that is my ultimate 6'7" lockdown build guide. I made all the mistakes so you guys don't have to. I really do hope this video helps everyone with their lock builds on day one. And don't forget, if we get this video to 3,000 likes, we're going to be dropping that 6'8" all around PG build. Thank you all for watching. It's been Spill. I'm out. Later.